ClipLane is a local-first workflow for turning a product update into a clear video plan. In this tutorial, I will show the complete idea from a release note to a script, storyboard, render plan, and a package you can review locally. The important word is local first. ClipLane is designed to help you create and inspect the planning work on your own machine before a hosted workflow is involved. That matters because product updates often start as a few sentences and end as a rushed video. The release is real, but the story is vague. Someone writes a script in one place, keeps screenshots in another, makes timing decisions while editing, and then has to reconstruct what the video was supposed to prove. ClipLane gives that work a deliberate shape. It keeps the script, storyboard, rendering instructions, and local plan connected. Start with one product update and one viewer outcome. Do not begin by listing every feature. State what changed, who it helps, and what the viewer should understand by the final frame. For example, a workflow now turns a product update into a reviewable launch plan. That is a claim a demonstration can support. It gives the video a destination. Next, write the narration as a sequence of beats. A beat has one job. The opening names the problem. The second beat introduces the workflow. The middle shows the actual steps. The ending tells the viewer what they can do next. This is simpler than writing one dense paragraph, because every beat can become a scene and every scene can be checked against a visible result. In ClipLane, the script is not only prose. It is the source for a production plan. Keep the spoken words honest and specific. If the workflow runs locally, say that. If a hosted target is planned rather than live, say that too. A strong product video does not need to claim more than the product can demonstrate. It needs a clear input, a visible process, and an outcome people can judge. Now turn those beats into a storyboard. For each scene, write the visual intent, the on-screen text, the narration, and the proof. Visual intent answers what the viewer sees. On-screen text gives the key idea a readable anchor. Narration carries the explanation. Proof answers the question that matters most: what in this scene makes the claim checkable? That could be a local plan file, a script section, a render command, or the final rendered asset. Here is a useful pattern. Scene 1 opens with the release note and the problem. Scene 2 reduces that update to a single promise. Scene 3 shows the script beats. Scene 4 maps those beats to storyboard cards. Scene 5 describes the render workflow. Scene 6 shows the local output package. The final scene gives the viewer the honest boundary: ClipLane is local first today, and the hosted Talocode target is planned. The storyboard is where a vague launch turns into executable work. It is also where you remove scenes that do not earn their time. If a scene repeats the previous idea, cut it. If it makes a claim that cannot be shown, rewrite it. If it requires a screenshot that does not exist, replace it with a real local artifact. The goal is not more motion. The goal is a sequence that makes the workflow understandable. After the storyboard, create the render plan. A render plan records aspect ratio, duration, voiceover source, scene order, text treatment, asset paths, and the output file. This is practical infrastructure for a video. When the plan is explicit, you can review it before rendering and reproduce it later. You do not have to remember which frame used which headline or where an asset came from. For a vertical launch demo, keep the first second direct. Name the problem. Use large readable type. Give the viewer one action per scene. For a longer tutorial, slow down enough to explain the choices behind the plan. The same source material can become both assets because the workflow, not the layout, is the reusable unit. Rendering comes after review, not before it. Read the script aloud. Check whether every screen has a reason to exist. Confirm that the final frame arrives with the final spoken sentence. Validate that the video duration and the voice track duration agree. A timing mismatch is not a cosmetic detail, it can cut off the conclusion or leave an unexplained silent ending. The local output package is the handoff. It can include the narration text, storyboard data, generated cards, voice audio, final video, and publishing metadata. That package makes collaboration easier because another person can inspect the exact source behind the result. It also makes revisions less expensive. Change a beat, update the affected card, render again, and keep the rest of the plan intact. This local-first approach is especially useful for teams that want review before publishing. You can share the plan without granting access to a publishing account. You can decide whether the claim is accurate before the video exists. You can review the output locally before anything is scheduled. The workflow creates a clear boundary between creation, review, rendering, and distribution. ClipLane is a local-first workflow. The demonstrated path in this tutorial is creating and reviewing the plan on your own machine before distribution. The plan hosted target is https://api.talocode.site/v1/cliplane, authenticated with talocode_API_key, and the plan MCP address is https://api.talocode.site/mcp. These are plan targets, not claims that a hosted endpoint exists today. Talocode provides the product home at https://talocode.site. Keep the boundaries simple. This video demonstrates the local workflow, not a hosted publishing service. Why state that boundaries so plainly? Because Trustworthy launch media separates what exists from what is planned. A local plan is useful now. A future hosted endpoint may make coordination easier later. Both can be part of the same roadmap without pretending they are the same stage of the product. Clear language helps viewers decide what they can use today. Let us recap the workflow. Start with a real product update. Define one viewer outcome. Write concise narration beats. Convert every beat into a storyboard scene with visual intent and proof. Record the render decisions in a local plan. Review the claims and the timing. Render the assets. Package the source and output together. That is the ClipLane loop. The biggest benefit is not that every product video looks identical. It is that the work becomes inspectable. A script can be reviewed. A storyboard can be challenged. A render plan can be reproduced. A final video can be compared to the claim. The creative choices stay flexible, while the workflow stays clear. There are a few practical review questions worth using before you render. Can a new teammate explain the promise after reading the opening beat? Does every scene either introduce a new decision or provide proof for a claim? Is the on-screen text readable without the narration? Does the final call to action tell the viewer what they can do today? These questions keep the plan focused on the viewer instead of the production process alone. For example, imagine a release note that says a team improved a handoff workflow. The first draft may be tempting to turn into a list of changes. Instead, identify the person who was blocked, name the handoff they need to complete, and show the before and after path in a small number of scenes. The video then has a real job: help the viewer understand the change and decide whether it matters to their work. Keep source material organized beside the output. A simple folder can contain the release note, the approved script, the storyboard cards, audio, and a publishing checklist. This is useful even for a small launch. When a question arrives after publishing, the team can trace the exact wording and visual proof behind the video instead of reconstructing it from memory. Finally, treat revisions as a normal part of the workflow. A reviewer may ask for a narrower claim, a clearer first frame, or a different proof point. Those requests are easier to handle when the script and scenes are explicit. Change the relevant beat, update the corresponding card, render again, and validate the final timing. The plan remains the source of truth throughout the revision. For your next update, choose one workflow people can see from start to finish. Do not try to cover the whole roadmap. Make one promise, show the path, and say what is local today and what is planned for the hosted future. ClipLane is built for that disciplined path from update to launch media. Build the plan locally, review the proof, then render with confidence.